A lack of a medal, or in fact a placing in the pool, in fact a position in the finals at the pool at the 2016 Olympics, has proved costly for New Zealand swimming, with the organisation losing $400,000 in funding for next year. High Performance Sport New Zealand today released its funding for next year largely based on Olympic results, although that's not the only criteria for assessment. And while there are funding boosts for Yachting New Zealand, athletics and canoe racing, our national triathlon and swimming programs will have some hard decisions to make following big cuts. Swimming New Zealand declined to be interviewed today, seeking clarification from High Performance Sport New Zealand on its funding cut. I asked High Performance Sport NZ CEO Alex Baumann via Skype if there's room to reconsider.
That's a full and final decision. The 900K committed for 2 years. I mean, we can clarify how we reached that decision and we can have that discussion with them. But it's gone from 1.3 million to 900,000 based on the fact that one, the performances in Rio, not one swimmer made the final. And also some of the key milestones as well. Now, having said that, I think they've moved a long way in the last 18 months, but the focus has to be on the National Training Center and the head coach for swimming to try to develop that center of excellence where athletes actually want to compete and train. So that's a final figure, but we can have that discussion.
Right. I want to go back to what you gave them previously. You gave them $1.3 million, right?
Correct.
Okay, and they didn't get a swimmer into the finals at Rio. In other words, doesn't that tell you something about the cause and effect and what an inexact science this is? They were heftily backed. It didn't work out. Your money didn't work there, did it?
Well, in terms of the investment, I mean, there's 4 criteria that we take a look at. One is past performance, which would be in Rio, and obviously the last 4 years as well. They've had some good results in World Championships, obviously with Lauren winning World Championship medals in the last 3 years leading into the Games. But we take a look at future potential. We take a look at the quality of the high performance program. And finally, we take a look at the individual context of the sport. And that just means that some sports are more expensive than others, team sports versus individual sports. So those are the 4 criteria that we take a look at. So past historical performance is one of those criteria. It's an important one, there's no doubt, because the Olympics are important. And ultimately, our goal was 14 plus medals. We have to take a look at sports that can help us reach that goal. We have 16 plus for Tokyo.
So obviously your job is to back winners, and that makes absolute sense. But it strikes me, looking at who got less money and who got more money, that you kind of make those decisions after the fact, don't you? I mean, wouldn't it be better to get it right in advance?
Well, no, I don't think we back them after the fact. Obviously, as I said, that's one of the criteria. But it's not an exact science, but we take a look at what the potential is for the future, because I believe that if you're going to have a world-leading system, you have to have sustainability. So it's not only for the next pinnacle event or for Tokyo, it's beyond that. It's supporting some athletes. And with the Tier 1 sports, Tier 2 sports, we go down below 4 years, 4 to 8 years to podium. So we're supporting athletes 8 years away from podium.
Okay, so sustainability and also accountability, right? Because you don't want to give money to people who aren't providing a meaningful return on investment.
Yes.
I guess there are some people who did better than you had expected them to because they have had an increase in the funding they're getting from you. Who are the big examples of that?
Well, certainly yachting and athletics. So if you take a look at yachting, their goal was 2 medals. They got 4 out of 7 boats that competed at the Olympic Games, and there's a pipeline of athletes that are doing very, very well. So they're pretty well set for 2020. Obviously, coaching is a priority for them. Athletics, you know, you could say that they overperformed. Again, their goal was 2 medals. They got 4. They got some good young athletes, obviously Eliza, Tom Walsh, Jack O'Gill as well. They have some depth, and there's some other athletes in pole vault and shot put that are coming up as well. So they've done very well. They moved from a Tier 2 sport to a Tier 1 sport, and the investment increases. The third sport, I guess, is canoe racing, where obviously Lisa's exploits have been outstanding at the Olympic Games. She'll be going on to 2020. And there are some other female athletes that are in the fray in terms of the K4, where they finished 5th in Rio, which was an outstanding result. So we see a lot of potential. They will centralize in Carapiro at the end of 2017. And perhaps the final one is Paralympics. Paralympics did an outstanding
Yeah,
job.
they had a wonderful games. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they have an increase as well.
Okay. Can we talk about rowing? Bond and Murray going, is that part of the decision to give rowing less money?
Not really. I think yes, agree that some of those athletes are taking a sabbatical, which they can do in rowing. They can come back. That's been proven. But it's more that they didn't reach their target. 5 medals was a target. They still did well with 2 gold medals and 1 silver, and second on the medal table tied for second in the medal table in rowing, because more countries won medals. It was a bit more difficult. But there's some changes that had to happen. If you compare it to 2015 World Championship results, they are disappointed that they didn't get to the 5. So the 200 is just an indication that they did well. It really is a small decrease, given that they had 5.3 million. It goes to 5.1 million, but they'll have to cut their cloth accordingly.
Gosh, this is a matter of fact, isn't it? And kind of unsentimental. I mean, you and I are talking very rationally about money and performance and return on investment. And if we think of the beginnings of the Olympics as an amateur sport and people running around nude in Greece and all that kind of stuff, what you're saying actually is we've got a finite amount of money and we want some bang for our buck.
We have to, and we're very fortunate that the government has supported to the tune of $66 million. But it's a top-down approach. We have a goal of 16 plus for Tokyo, 10 to 14 gold medals on the Paralympic front, and winning world championships in non-Olympic sports. And I don't believe in distributing the funds so equally that it actually doesn't make a difference. So there's going to be winners and losers, but it is a performance-based approach, and there is accountability, and we shouldn't shy away from that. We have to make some hard calls.
It's Alex Bauman from High Performance Sport New Zealand.